Good afternoon, children. Today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter 13, Motion and Time. In this chapter, we will study about different types of motion and what are their application in our day-to-day life. So first of all, we will learn what is motion. Children, in your day-to-day life, if you look around yourself, you can see many objects around you. No. A row of houses, large trees, small plants, people, birds, animals, and many other things you can see around you. Each house in your locality remains at its allotted place. The tree in front of your house remains there itself. Birds keep flying from one place to another. They may sit for a while on a tree. People may sit or move from one place to another. So we see there are two different types of objects. So children, if you see your surrounding, you can see some are changing their place from one place to another place. But some objects or things are always remain in their own place. They never ever change their place. So according to that, we can divide the things into two categories. That are the object which are always remain at the same position, they are in rest. Okay, so the object which do not change their position with time, the object which do not change their position with time, they are said to be in rest. Like our houses, buildings, trees, these all remain at their own place. They never ever change their place. So that's why they all are at rest. But the objects which change their position with time, these objects which change their position with time are said to be in motion. Okay, like human beings, like birds, like animals, these all are insects, these all are changing their position with respect to time. We are changing our position from one place to another place. We are showing motion. So we can say the object which change their position with respect to time, they are said to be in motion. Okay, so the same object may be at rest at one moment and in the motion and some another. How this is possible? Yes, children, motion and the rest both are relative to each other. Okay, if you see from one reference point, the object can be seen in a motion, but with the other reference point, if you will see, the object will be seen in a rest. Yes, you will be now surprised how is it possible. Yes, children, for example, we can say that if a person is sitting in a train, suppose you are sitting in a train, okay, sitting in a train in one place with a reference to other passenger of the train, you are in rest. Okay, and from your reference point also other passenger are in rest because you all are sitting there inside the train. But the person or the people who are seeing you from the platform, those who are seeing you, you are in motion because you are inside the train and train is in motion. That's why your body is also in motion. Okay, so children, in one reference point, from the reference point of the passenger inside the train, you are in rest, but from the reference point of the people on around the platform, you are in motion. So see here, nothing is at absolute rest or in absolute motion in the universe. So yes, children, this is very very true that nothing in this whole world is in absolute rest or in absolute motion. Okay, any object said to be in the state of rest or motion is related to the fixed point. Whenever we are seeing that anything is in rest or in a motion, we are seeing in one reference point. But from the other reference point, maybe that object will be in rest or in motion also. Such a fixed point is chosen arbitrarily. Let us imagine ourselves to be sitting inside a compartment of a running train. Take a situation when everybody in the compartment is sitting at rest. Then each passenger is at rest relative to the compartment as well as with respect to the other passenger. Yes, children, if you are sitting in the compartment of a train, everyone is in rest according to your reference point. But If we consider any point outside the compartment, that is the platform, as a reference point, then the compartment as well as all the passengers in it are in motion. But the people who are standing in the platform, with that reference point, you are in motion, because you are inside the train and train is in motion. That's why you are also in motion. So this example shows that the some object may be at rest with respect to one reference point and in motion with the respect to another at the same time. So we can say that the motion is actually a relative motion and the states of rest and motion are relative. Okay, one more example we can take, that if we are sitting inside our home, we are at rest. Okay, but the someone who is seeing our planet Earth from the space, Earth is continuously rotating and revoluting. It is showing rotation and revolution both. So the person who is astronaut who is seeing from the space, Earth is in motion because it is continuous in motion. So with that reference point, we are also in motion. But inside our home, we are sitting at a rest. We don't show any motion. So children, that's why nothing in this whole world is in complete rest or in complete motion. They both are relative to each other. I hope you will understand. So now comes to types of motion. Types of motion you have already studied in class 6. There are different types of motion. Let's recapitulate once again what are the types of motion. In your previous class, you have read about the types of motion. Just to recall, the various types of motion we generally observe are illustrated below. The first one is translatory motion. What do you mean by translatory motion? When any object change their place, position from one place to another place, okay, with respect to time, that is called translatory motion. If suppose you are walking from your guest room to your bedroom, that is called translatory motion. Means any object which change its position with respect to time from one place to another place, that is called translatory motion. Here all the cars are in translatory motion because they are moving from one place to another place. Linear motion means the motion in a straight path. Linear motion is also known as rectilinear motion. If any object like your car, bicycle, if any object is moving in a straight path, that is called linear or rectilinear motion. Curvilinear motion means whenever any body moves in a curved path, that is called curvilinear motion. If a body is moving in a circular path, then it is called circular motion. Okay. Now random motion. Random motion is that type of motion in which a body doesn't have any fixed path. They can move randomly at any place, at any position. That is called random motion. Okay, it is not fixed. Randomly a body can move any place or position, that is called random motion. Like the motion of a fleas, the motion of a mosquito, motion of a insects, these all are random motion. Rotatory motion. Rotatory motion is that motion in which an object rotates in its own axis. Okay, like this top, you can see this top, it is rotating in its own axis. Like that also our earth is also rotating in its own axis. So all the objects which are rotating in its own axis, this fan, the fan at your home, see, look at the fan, it is also rotating in its own axis. Okay, so this is all about rotatory motion. Rolling motion. Rolling motion is that type of motion which including two types of motion, translatory motion as well as circular motion. Here you can see the ball is rolling from top to bottom, means it is changing its place from one place to another place. Also it is moving in a circular way, okay, in that slope. So rolling motion is the combination of translatory as well as the circulatory motion. Now comes to periodic motion. Periodic motion is that type of motion in which the object repeat itself at a regular interval of time. You can see this pendulum of a clock. It is moving to and fro like that. Why it is so? Because it has periodic motion. Okay, periodic motion means it is repeating itself at a regular interval of time. That is called periodic motion. Okay, now this is the oscillatory motion. This oscillatory motion also you can say periodic motion, because this swing, the child is sitting on a swing, and this swing is also moving to and fro like that. Okay, so this is also, you can say, periodic motion as well as oscillatory motion. Now here you can see vibratory motion. Vibratory motion is also a type of very small oscillations, very to and fro rapid oscillations are called vibratory motion, rapid oscillations. And this is the vibratory. Whenever we pluck the string of sitar, guitar, they start showing the motion, they start vibrating to and fro very rapidly. That is called vibratory motion. Here you can see, children, a woman is pulling out water from a well, and this includes two types of motion, translatory motion as well as the rotatory motion. The wheel, this pulley is showing the rotatory motion, and the bucket is showing the translatory motion because it is moving from down to up. Okay, so I hope you have understand what these motions are. If you have any questions, doubts, you can ask me in WhatsApp. Now comes to page number 196. Here there is an activity, children. You have to write which type of motion these are. Some activities are given for you. Now identify the types of motion for the motion given in the following activity. So first one is done for you. Motion of a flying bird is a random motion. Okay. Motion of horse pulling a cart on a straight road, that is linear motion. Linear motion. Motion of a child in a merry-go-round, that is circular motion. Motion of a child on a seesaw. Seesaw, you all have enjoyed that, I think so. So that is a periodic motion because that is repeating itself at a regular interval of time. Periodic motion. Now motion of the hammer on electric bell. The motion of a hammer on electric bell is also a type of periodic motion. Periodic motion. Motion of a train on a straight bridge. Linear motion. Linear motion. And motion of a moon around the earth, that is circular motion. Motion of a pendulum, you can say periodic motion because it is repeating itself at a regular interval of time. The wheel of a moving car on a straight road. So you can write here, children, linear and rotatory motion. Linear and rotatory motion because linear because it is the car is moving on a straight road, that's why linear motion, and its wheel is moving in its own axis, that's why rotatory motion. Opening the cap of a bottle, that is translatory motion. Translatory motion. Okay, so you can write here these all. Now children, comes to oral questions. Some questions are given, oral questions. So here in the oral question, what is the state of an object which does not change its position with time? What is the state of an object which does not change its position with the time? That is the rest. The object will be at rest. Which kind of motion is shown by the following? Earth moving about its own axis, that is the rotatory motion. Rotatory motion. And earth moving around the sun, that is the circular motion. That is circular motion. Name the type of motion executed by the tire of a moving car, that is rolling motion. Rolling motion. As I told you, children, rolling motion is the combination of two motion, that is translatory motion as well as the circular motion, okay, or rotatory motion. Give an example of multiple motion. The pulling of water from well, that is a example of multiple motion. Okay, now children, if for suppose if both the body if both the body or the bodies which are around you all are in motion, then how you will detect which one is slow and which one is fast? We can detect the motion of any object by knowing its speed. Okay, by knowing the speed of any object, we can detect whether the object is slow or whether the object is fast. So comes to slow and fast. We see many moving vehicles on the road and the sky. Some move faster while others move slowly. For example, an aeroplane runs faster than a train. The train runs faster than a bicycle, and so on. Even while walking, some people walk faster than others. So, to know how fast an object is moving, we ought to know the following two things: distance traveled by the object and time taken by the object to cover distance. You have already learned the measurement of distance in your previous class. In the following section we describe. So children, in order to know with the object whether the object is slow or fast, we have to know its speed, and to know about the speed, first of all we have to calculate the distance traveled by the object and the time taken by the object. Okay, so I think this is enough for today. We will continue our class in next video. So thank you and have a nice day, and also study at your home and don't leave any of the notes. Just up to date with your notes and your study materials. So have a nice day.